Hi, I'm Mike Vichik, co-founder and CEO of Pursuit.
And I'm Brandon Max, co-founder and CTO. Welcome to Pursuit's Fall 2025 release event.
So imagine this. Last night at a school district board meeting, parents voiced their concerns about the district's math curriculum, saying there needs to be more options for advanced courses. There's a police department who just shipped their upcoming 2026 plan. One of their main goals is to improve response times and monitor situations from above as they're unfolding. There's a planning and building department whose contract with their existing permitting technology vendor expires in 9 months. And they just gave an update at last night's Housing Commission meeting about how they have an interest in using technology to accelerate the review timeline. There are 110,000 SLED entities in the United States. Each of them is emitting signals of their needs every single day. Before Pursuit, your team would have to invest hours into manual research, only to find out in 6 months when an eventual RFP dropped. Does that sound familiar? With Pursuit, your team gets notified when signals matter to them, right when they happen. Selling into government is complicated, but it doesn't have to be impenetrable. If you're able to know about the problems and the desires of the public sector as they're unfolding, you have a better chance of being in there early, building relationships, and ultimately winning on merit. That's why we're building Pursuit. We're the intelligence layer that makes the invisible visible. We're monitoring board meetings and videos, budgets, meeting materials, strategic plans, audit findings. We're submitting tens of thousands of FOIA requests a quarter. So with Pursuit, your team can see signals that they didn't even know were there.
When we help vendors find opportunities earlier, the public sector benefits too. Buyers get a broader understanding of available solutions, what they cost, the risks of implementation, and the value they'd create for their communities. Mike and I started this company because we want to make life better for every citizen, student, public servant in our country. Improved government procurement is a rising tide that lifts all boats. With that, let's dive into our fall release. It's our biggest and best release yet. Huge shout out to Pursuit's talented engineering and product team. We're going to show you how Pursuit has made life easier for 3 different types of people in a public sector go-to-market team. RevOps, account executives, and marketing. All right, let's start with RevOps. Mike, take us away.
So first thing of any implementation of a go-to-market tech product is that you need to connect the accounts that you have in your CRM to Pursuit. And so the scenario that I want to leave with you is imagine that in a few days, your full sales team has a pipeline review. And as a team, you have 1.5x pipe coverage. That's not good enough. Someone has to go look at the data and figure out why. So you, as the RevOps leader, get to dig in and try to unpack that. And here's what you found. Reps don't know which accounts to target, and they don't know the issues and goals for each of those targets. When they do prospect, reps run into bad contact data. They find contacts who've left. They find that there's missing contact information. Emails are invalid. People don't have phone numbers. So you also find that your RFP team is asked to respond to an RFP that we had no idea about, right? And the historical fallback for all that has always been conferences. But for the hundreds of thousands of dollars spent each year on conferences, the cost per lead is pretty high. So when you're meeting with the CRO, there's one key question on the table. How do we fix this? Now, we painted a dire situation there, but with Pursuit, we can help you turn it around fast. The first step to any of these processes is mapping your accounts in your CRM to Pursuit's account. This makes it so that data can flow between Pursuit and your CRM seamlessly. Traditionally, that's a rough process, filled with manual work. Pursuit makes it take 5 minutes, though. Beyond that, the thing that I want to show you is that a lot of people that we meet, they don't even have their full TAMs built out in their CRM. They might have, the biggest cities in the country or some of the counties or the R1 universities, but they're missing lots of accounts. So Pursuit solves that instantly for you. You can come over into Intel and you can immediately set up the types of entities that you want to pull over into your CRM. So under entities, I'm going to select type and I'll put municipalities. And as you can see, there are 35,753 of those. Maybe we don't want to push over, folks with 37 people. So you want to put a population minimum of 10,000. Awesome. So now there's 4,400 of those. I can select all of them and then in one fell swoop, export them to my CRM. And over goes all that data, the populations, the websites, any government IDs that we have on it, all of the Pursuit IDs are mapped, so it's super clean. inside your database. You could add all the state agencies, all the higher ed institutions, all the special districts. This has been a really, honestly, back-breaking process that we've gone through to make sure that the database is correct at the most root level. The next thing that you want to do, once you've synced your contacts, we've added a bunch of functionality in this release that makes the contact data even better. The emails are more accurate, there's better contact confidence scores, and we have more contacts than ever before. But once you've done that, one of the things that prior to this you had to go do was every so often update those contacts, push over the updates from Pursuit manually. Obviously, it would be better if that was automated. So in the Pursuit fall release, what we've done is you can actually go into your integration configuration settings, go into your CRM. We've got HubSpot set up, but it works the same way with Salesforce. And then you can select the schedule on which those contacts get synced over. Oftentimes what we find is that our customers are using an API that is shared across multiple integrations. And so you have to be really careful that those API users don't step on each other and create data conflicts. And so scheduling becomes super important. What you can say is, I want all the contact information. So if I found that there was a mayor who's no longer in their role or a police chief who was just promoted, I can say on Saturday morning at 5 a.m. or whatever, 6 a.m. Eastern time, I want all those contacts to sync over from Pursuit into my database. So it's on autopilot forevermore. One other quick thing that we released in this in fall is you can now set export limits. So if you have a BDR or an AE who's using the Chrome extension or is using Pursuit in their app, you can set a limit to how many contacts they can import at any one time. That just prevents accidental ports of tens of thousands of contacts. Okay, so we've done a couple of things so far. Number one is we've got our account database mapped to Pursuit. We've filled out the TAM. We've updated all the contacts in our database, and now they're on autopilot. We're already doing better than 95% of sales organizations out there, but we can take it even further. And I want to show you some new stuff in our fall release related to account research. Let's assume that I'm running sales ops or RevOps at a company like Cisco, and let's focus on their security portfolio. And let's say, for instance, that I want to go in and I want to research municipalities. Municipalities with a population minimum. I mean, we'll just put it at 100K, but you could do it for all of them. And so I can come in, and you'll notice some of these accounts haven't been synced. That should be a red flag. I want to sync them over. So I'm going to grab just the top 100 accounts here, and I'm going to click Research Entities. That's going to take me to this page. And this was something that we shipped in the summer release, but we're adding a ton of functionality to this. So you can create a new prompt, and you could say, what cybersecurity initiatives have they worked on in the past 6 months? Moths. In the past 6 months. It's helpful to be able to type. Then you could say, let's see, are there budgets associated with them? What are their key issues? And you'll notice this is like not the world's greatest prompt. I did that intentionally. What you can do is click the button that says Generate Prompt, and we take your non-amazing prompt and turn it into a fit for AI prompt. So you'll see now it says you're playing the role of a public sector cybersecurity program analyst specializing in initiative tracking and issue assessment. Your objective is to identify and summarize the cybersecurity initiatives undertaken by the entity over the past 6 months. We give some more specific tasks. We define what we want the output to look like. I can also just come in here and name it and call it Cyber Initiatives. And I'm just, for the sake of illustration, going to run it on 5 rows. So while that's happening, let me explain what's happening behind the scenes. 2 things are going on. One is Pursuit is using a web search API to go crawl the internet right now and find anything that's relevant. It's looking at the entity's website. It's also looking at news that's out there. It's looking at social posts, everything. And the same prompt we are taking and going to the Pursuit database, where we've built our own crawler that goes deep into every single one of these government websites downloads every PDF that we can find, classifies it, reads it. If it's a scanned in, cockeyed PDF of something that, that was presented at a council meeting, we're even reading that, right? So we're reading stuff that previously was not even able to be read. We're taking the results that we get from each of those queries, mashing them together, and you're going to see, the response to that here. And it's going to take a minute to return, but when it does, you're going to have the ability to filter on that as well. So you could search that for you could search the responses for specific words. For instance, in the case of Cisco, they bought Duo Security, which is a multi-factor authentication. So I could put MFA, I could put 2FA, I could put any of the keywords in there that are relevant. So I could quickly figure out who's got something relevant to my products that I want to sell. So that's right off the rip how you can go through, and I'll just read some of these here. So it's funny that here's Cisco Duo mentioned. But, for the city of Allen, which is in Texas, they are doing some initiatives that they're investing in cybersecurity. So the time frame is within the past 6 months, the associated budget, they didn't specify, but the initiative is driven to find, well, that one's not great. This one here, Digital Government Summit for 2025. The city's engagement with the summit's theme, cybersecurity, digital transformation, AI implementation, and data governance, indicates its focus on the current challenges in these areas. Although no specific issues were encountered, the participation itself was detailed. And then you can look at, here's another one for Alexandria, Virginia. There's a bunch of stuff going on here. The city of Alexandria participated in Cybersecurity Awareness Month in October, so a few days ago, focusing on stay safe online. The initiative involved promoting cybersecurity practices, strong passwords, la-di-la-di-la-di. They are also here talking about implementing SASE. So that's an interesting, specific initiative that they're targeting, and it's based on an ongoing initiative mentioned in July. So this has been going on for a little bit. They're also implementing a new remote access solution. So the cool thing here is, as a RevOps professional, I can set my team up to go even deeper. You can, if you wanted, you could say, here's another prompt. Have there been any cyber security issues in the past 6 months? Let's make it 12, I guess. So this is going to be a true-false, right? And it can actually just be a first pass where it goes through and gives you a true-false output, and you'll be able to filter it on the results that are true. So you can actually spare yourself the time of, not going in and researching accounts that don't have any cybersecurity initiatives going on. So this sort of account research allows you to go really deep and be very specific to the things that you want. You can create saved prompts as well. So if I want to go look, back at this one, I can save it as a template. So I can call this one Cyber Initiatives. And what this does, I can either save it just for myself, or I can share it with my entire workspace, which means that every AE, every BDR, everyone in the account will be able to use it. I'm going to click Save, and then now when I come back, I can select from library, and you can see here there's all these saved initiatives, or saved prompts rather, that will make life easier next time. You don't have to recreate the wheel. So if you want to rerun this every quarter, a lot of times a cool use case for this is a sales leader will want their reps to go create a territory plan. And territory plans were insanely painful to go build in the past. This, you can create the canned prompts, and every quarter go through and rip out the territory plan and make it super well researched in 10 minutes. And that helps focus in on the accounts that are most likely to close. The last thing that I want to show from a RevOps perspective, we hear all the time, I want my AEs building pipeline. I want them on discovery calls. I want them doing demos. I want them in proposal meetings. I don't want them doing research. I don't want them in another tool. I want to keep them focused in Salesforce, which is, totally a great thought. One thing that we're releasing in our fall release is Pursuit's Chrome extension. So whether I'm on an account in Salesforce Or if I'm on a government's web page, I can quickly click the Chrome extension, pulls up some basic information on the account, and then I can go in and I can see all the people who are, like currently employed at this public entity. In this case, in Ann Arbor, we've got 920 plus people. You could go in and say, all right, I want to look at, again, since we're talking about Cisco from cyber point of view, I want to target people in IT. So I just look up information technology. It looks like in our database, we've got 2 people, but there's a bunch of people here that we haven't pulled over. So I can quickly grab each of these. And maybe, well, I want the cybersecurity person. I don't need the cellular infrastructure person. We'll take the change management person. We don't need support. And sure. So I can click export. It'll push all that contact data over into my CRM. And forevermore, it'll be updated on that schedule that we talked about earlier. So all in all, what we've done is we've made it possible for RevOps folks to map their accounts, clean their contacts, do really well-researched account plans, essentially, and enable their team to know what issues matter to their customers. And then finally, we've put the contact data directly into the workflow for the AE through the Chrome extension. So with that, I'd love to transition and bring in one of our customers who's using this stuff every day and talk about some of the results that they've seen. Adam Brophy is the VP of Revenue Operations at CentralSquare. Adam and his team recently made the switch to Pursuit from their prior provider, and what they found was remarkable. Their business development team generated 6.6 times as much pipeline with Pursuit compared to their prior provider. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Appreciate you joining. So just give us a sense of what the before state looked like. So before you switched to Pursuit, what did your pipeline generation process look like? And walk us through maybe a typical week for a BDR or an AE who is trying to find and qualify opportunities in SLED.
Yeah, sure. So before Pursuit, our process worked, right? But it really took a lot of effort. So each week our BDRs use several tools to identify we call high propensity accounts, right? Then we have to manually find the right contacts, find the right users, decision makers, and so forth. Then we have to build personalized messaging from scratch. So in government sales, timing and context matter more than anything, really, in my opinion. But pulling all those pieces together is really time consuming. So we were spending a lot more time building campaigns than actually running campaigns, right? Pursuit helped us completely change that.
Yeah, got it. So it was a super manual process, and I think there's only so many hours in the day, right? So people weren't able to go as deep or as broad as they might have wanted. Talk to us about the decision to switch. Like, what motivated it?
So honestly, we weren't really looking to switch. We had a solution in place. By all accounts, it was working well. But Pursuit kept coming up in conversations with people that we know and trust, in the government space. And we decided to check it out. So we actually ran a pilot for a bit. We had some power users of our other solution, and our direction to that group was, let's try to break this thing, right? Find a reason not to switch, because that would make my life a lot easier if I didn't have to switch things selfishly, right?
Yeah.
But instead, we walked away really impressed. The Pursuit team even built a few features that the incumbent had that weren't in Pursuit at the time. And you guys did that in a week, 2 weeks. Really leaned in, really tried to understand our specific public sector sales process. It was, like I said, we were really impressed. Our previous platform had a lot of data, but finding what really mattered took way too much time. And Pursuit kind of flipped that on its head, right? The right opportunities now surface automatically. So no more digging around trying to find the right information. And The result, the 6.6x increase in weekly pipeline generation. And that's what got everyone's attention, to be quite honest. That's the real metric that drove this.
I just want to say, I love that. And trying to break Pursuit is like my favorite thing, because then we can pull out all the stops and make it work for everybody, and appreciate you doing that and the team for that.
That whole process made us better.
What's that?
That whole process made us better. So thanks for the
Great.
opportunity.
Great. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, honestly.
So you talked about the before and the after and the 6.6x jump for like, the AEs and the BDR teams that are generating pipe. From a RevOps perspective though, beyond just, the pipeline increases, what's different now versus before? Just from like your chair as it relates to data and RevOps.
Well, so Pursuit instantly kind of connects the dots. We don't have to search through the data anymore. It surfaces the right accounts, contacts, insights. Or BDRs, can build high quality prospect lists, confirm contacts, craft relevant outreach in minutes instead of hours, right? Typing the right email, referencing the right phrase in a document.
Right.
With the Salesforce and Chrome integration, it fits into our workflow. Right? Faster, more precise. That's really what drove the pipeline increase. But from more a RevOps and tools perspective, Pursuit fits perfectly into how we're thinking about AI and AI investments. Right? It solves a real problem, albeit a problem we didn't know we had that we could improve on, but we discovered it, and it delivers measurable value. Right? It's not AI for AI's sake, which I love. Right? It's actionable intelligence. It improves selfishly forecasting accuracy, performance visibility. It helps us see where momentum is building in certain areas. Our data is cleaner.
Yep.
Insights faster. Reporting is much better. It gives us more clarity from a RevOps perspective. That's super important to me.
And I think one thing I'm just curious your take on is, just talk for a second about the Salesforce integration. How did that go versus your expectations? How did our integration process compare to other integrations that you've done in the past?
It was extraordinary. I mean, it was seamless. We have a great Salesforce team internally. I usually hear about everything that goes wrong and all the reasons why we can't do certain things, which I sincerely appreciate, right? They have our back. They want to make sure that we're getting our data. And I didn't hear much about this process, to be honest with you. I was copied on some communication, but everything seemed to go very, very smoothly. It's the data is really easy to consume within Salesforce. Right? It was easy to create some new fields that we needed. It was compared to some other nightmares I've been through. This was fantastic.
The last question I'd have for you is, if you think about yourself 6 months ago or another peer of yours who hasn't yet implemented Pursuit, and maybe, like you said, they don't even necessarily know they need to, what are some of the things that, after having done it and been through it, what are some of the things that you believe now that you didn't believe or that you didn't know then?
That's a good question. The one thing that the primary takeaway I have is if you think your current process works, you want to be sure to challenge that, right? And I spoke about that with the incumbent. Everything was great. We had no complaints. But when we did that, when we challenged that assumption, Pursuit was able to show us what we were missing. Right? It wasn't about swapping one tool for another. It was really about transforming how the team identifies and creates opportunities, which we weren't generally aware of at the time, right?
Yeah.
We could do more, obviously, but this allowed us to do it differently and much faster. And I think, once we saw the speed, precision, and the results delivered by Pursuit in a very short amount of time, it's tough to think about going back. Wasn't very disruptive, right? The only disruption really was kind of realizing the potential that we were leaving untapped in a way. So
Totally.
That would be
So maybe the summary there is, the classic "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" probably doesn't apply. I mean, and I think that's true in AI today. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, but it is actually possible to do things today that you just couldn't do 15 months ago. And this is a really fast changing part of the world, and we're excited to have partners with you that can help us understand what the problems are and what we should be focusing on. So really appreciate you joining the interview today, Adam, and it's been so great to partner with you and with your team, and we look forward to a long relationship together. So thank you.
Yeah, guys.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Take care. 6.6x pipe gen. As a RevOps leader, you can go to bed feeling more comfortable that you're going to crush your number this year. Not to mention, folks will make their bonuses. So let's quickly recap. In terms of time savings, account mapping went from weeks to 30 minutes. Contact data cleanup went from quarterly projects that you're never fully satisfied with and that were out of date before even finished to now being fully automated and updated nightly. Account targeting used to take weeks if it ever happened, and now it's happening overnight in an automated way. Pipeline generation went from spray and pray to insanely well-researched targeting that's relevant to each individual buyer. It makes them feel like they're the only prospect that you care about. Manual contact entry is gone due to the Chrome extension, and data quality went through the roof, from poor to 95% plus. Continuous automated updates happen instead of periodic cleanup projects. So Pursuit's fall release gives RevOps teams superpowers, tools that help them drive pipeline, win rates, and go-to-market productivity. All right, Brandon, let's talk about how the account execs are using this every day.
Cool. Okay, so picture this. It's Monday morning. You just found out that a mid-sized public safety department in your territory went to RFP for a records management system. A 6-figure deal you had no idea was coming. Your competitor has been in there for months, shaping the requirements. You never had a chance. And here's the worst part. The account isn't even in your CRM as an opportunity. Despite having over 100 account executives at your company, nobody knew this was coming. If you're an AE selling into state and local government, the nightmare has probably happened to you. Pursuit makes sure that never happens again. Let me show you how. So, set the context. I'm an account executive at a technology company that sells planning and building and construction software to local municipalities.
You got your morning coffee?
I got my morning coffee. It's 8 a.m. I'm ready to get to work. I check my email, and there it is, an email from Pursuit. But it isn't just any email. It's like having the world's best account research partner working for you overnight. And this email, that's brand new in our fall release. So here's what happened while I was sleeping. Pursuit knows my entire territory because it's integrated directly with Salesforce, and it knows every account in my patch. Overnight, it went to work, reading city websites, scanning PDFs, monitoring news articles, analyzing the FOIA data that Pursuit has submitted. And another big fall release is it's now watching and listening to videos from over 10,000 government entities. This includes council meetings, planning commission hearings, budget sessions, all happening in basically real time. By the way, the video piece, that's huge. We found that a ton of good signals happen in these videos where constituents and others talk about real problems the entity is facing. And Pursuit is acting on your behalf and asking one question. Is there anything that I should care about as an AE selling permitting software? And this morning, there absolutely is. So let's dive in. So I'm going to click on this email from the opportunity and open it up in Pursuit. So now I've jumped in this specific opportunity, and you can share this link with a BDR or anyone on the team to help multi-thread. But let's take a look at the actual content here. You can see that there's a contract expiring February of next year. So this is an amazing opportunity to jump in and start talking to these people on how you can help solve their issue. And you see it takes us to this RFP right on page 5 where it's super relevant. So I'm going to add this to pipeline and hop into For You. For You is brand new in the fall release. And what this does for you is it is doing all of that research overnight and just showing you the top opportunities for you to target. So for this one, you can see that there's actually a public hearing scheduled in the future to talk about spending $100K on advancing zoning and modern planning tools for e-permitting solutions. This is exactly what I solve. This is perfect. Let's jump in and just validate what they're talking about. As also brand new in fall release, this is taking you directly to the YouTube video where they mention how they want to, the problems that they're actually trying to solve here. And you can see in the screen that they're talking about technology and data tools, insufficient public outreach. This is amazing. I'm going to go back and I'm also going to add this to the pipeline queue. I'm going to add this one as well for City of Temple Terrace. This is great. So once you go through and you add a bunch to the pipeline queue, you can now go into account research mode, which Mike showed us in the previous one. And you could, if you wanted, you could use those from the prompt library that your RevOps team has already set up. But for now, it's about building pipe and engaging contacts. So I'm going to go ahead. So for these entities, you can see we have 678 contacts here. And I know I'm targeting planning and building officials. And I want to make sure that they have email addresses and they're super quality, low bounce rate contacts. So what you can see here is we have a bunch of contacts, planning department, assistant planner, senior planner, building inspectors. These are all great people to start multi-threading. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all 40 of them and I'm going to engage. From here, you can generate prospecting emails and LinkedIn scripts that have been set up to work and known to work. So I just kicked off a prospecting email, and what's that doing? It's doing the same exact thing that it does in pipeline mode for account research. It's going out to the web. It's finding relevant opportunities, and it's finding relevant news articles. It's looking at our FOIA data, and it's going to generate a super relevant email for you to send. While that's working, I can also go ahead and select from our prompt library a LinkedIn message or a voicemail script.
All of that can be set up in advance by the RevOps team or the marketing team. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So as an AE, you just come in and click the button.
While this is loading, I want to talk about the Chrome extension that we've also released this fall. So as you can see, you can jump into your CRM and you're in your account page. And as AEs should be, they should be in Salesforce. They should be making sure that it's up to date. They should be closing deals. What we've done is we've brought Pursuit to the AE. So you can jump in from the Chrome extension and you can look at all of Pursuit has to offer here. So for example, maybe we want to see how many building people are we missing. Here's a civil engineer position. Let's look at planning. So we have 21 contacts here that we might want to bring in. The director of planning development, we have senior planners, planning commission. I'm going to go ahead and just automatically export those into Salesforce. And now you've just added contacts into your accounts and you're good to go. Let's jump back over to pipeline mode and we'll see what emails we got and LinkedIn messages. So as you can see here, I'm going to read one of these. This is a great LinkedIn message. Hi, Chris. I noticed the city's active involvement in grants like the EDA application and CDBG initiative. Our team specializes in optimizing grant application and management processes. I'd welcome the opportunity to discuss how we can support it. Amazing LinkedIn message.
Nice and short, sweet, but it's also specific to stuff going on with them.
Yes, exactly. So,
and by the way, I think some folks we hear well, should our sellers be just sending those messages on their own? You can set up that process on your end, right? We're not saying you have to take this exact message and send it. It's just a thought starter that's going to make it easier for the reps to even do that work, right? So and you can even massage the prompt further if you wanted to make it sound more specific to your brand.
Yeah, exactly. And export those prompts directly into the contact in Salesforce or use it directly from there. And I just want to talk about what we just did. In the old world, you might not have known about the opportunity for months. You might have randomly bumped into someone at a conference or happened to get a call. And even if you did know about it, you'd be working with outdated contact data, missing key stakeholders, and your outreach would be generic. But with Pursuit's fall release, you knew about it the moment it happened, your database is automatically in sync, and you took personalized action within minutes.
Huge. I mean, I think that's really, it's worth highlighting, actually. There was an AI agent that worked on your behalf overnight and told you on a silver platter, here's the stuff that you should care about first thing in the morning. You clicked 3 buttons, took those accounts into an engagement sequence and built out an email campaign, a LinkedIn message, a phone script, and a voicemail script.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about the dollar impact of that, right? If you're spending 10 hours per week on account research right now, finding contacts, researching initiatives, figuring out what's happening at your accounts, that's 500 hours per year. Pursuit helps you do that research at scale within minutes. What would you do with the extra 10 hours per week? How many more deals could you close? And here's the bigger question. How many opportunities are you missing out on right now because you didn't know they exist? This is speed to pipeline. This is Pursuit.
Let's talk marketing, because there's a lot of really relevant stuff that's happening there as well. One key thing that we talk about with marketing all the time is, of course, events. And so Pursuit makes it easy to do stuff before, during, and after the event. Before and after, I think based on what Brandon just showed us, you could get a pretty clear understanding of how we can help you personalize the outreach to the people before and as a follow-up to the event. But one really novel use case is how Pursuit can help you during the event. So imagine now, the way this works is, I'm in marketing and we just paid 120 grand to sponsor a conference, right? And that's just for the show floor, not including travel. So we're putting a lot of money into this thing. We really need to make sure that we get opportunities coming out of it, because that's how we're going to judge if we're coming back next year. Also, how my boss will judge if I'm here next year. So what do we want to do? Basically, as part of being a sponsor, silver sponsor or gold sponsor of the event, we get some data before. Oftentimes it doesn't have emails and it doesn't have phone numbers of the people who are there, but it will have their names, first name, last name, and the entity that they're part of. So you can take that list and upload it to Pursuit. Pursuit will help you generate content that's relevant for campaigns before the event and after the event. But what we want to focus on today is a really novel use case for how Pursuit can be used during the event. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll walk through a use case here. Okay, so let's assume that we're attending a Michigan IT leadership summit, right? And I want to know the contacts who are going to be there. So we've got, if you go into Intel, you can upload. We've already uploaded that list, and I just go for contacts, and I'm going to look for Michigan IT leadership attendees. We took the first name, the last name, and the entity, and we uploaded it to Pursuit. Pursuit's giving back 187 contacts that we found with their emails and their phone numbers. You can move this to an 80% confidence. You can say, I want people with emails. And that's still 80, I guess it was high quality contacts. We got 187 of them. So I can take this, and now that's the data source that you want to use for all the campaigns and such. Now, let's talk about how you're going to be able to spoon feed every one of your conference attendees with a relevant icebreaker that could be used to generate a meeting. So I'm going to do that in pipeline mode.
So wait, just to clarify, you just uploaded that list and got emails and phones, confidence scored contacts done.
Yeah, I can push those into CRM. I can do whatever I want with them from there. Cool. Now, what I want to do is I want to give each of our AEs a 2 or 3 sentence, basically pickup line for, oh, hey, Brandon, I was looking for you. And I noticed that you guys are working on XYZ initiative. I just wanted to explain how we can help address that. Can we chat for 5? All right, so what I've done here is I've uploaded those Michigan IT leadership people that we were talking about before, and I can come over here and I want to grab those, all these accounts, right? These are the ones that are going to be at the conference. I'll just grab the top 100. Now I'm going to go to research entities, and I'll go edit columns with AI. And what I could do is I could say, give me a short icebreaker that an account executive can use to pique the customer's interest at a conference.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, this is using the product profiles that are already set up from your RevOps. It knows what company you're actually trying to reach out from.
Yeah, so in this case, it knows that I'm Cisco and that I'm selling security products. So give me a short icebreaker that an account executive can use to pique the customer's interest at a conference. I want it to be well researched. And let's say, just for instance, that I've already done another research prompt and I want to include analysis from that research prompt. So I could say, please make it 3 sentences. The first sentence should say, hi, I've been hoping to find you. I wanted to ask you about, and then let's say something that is relevant from your security initiatives, and close by asking for 5 minutes to chat. Right? Again, that's not a beautiful prompt. but we're going to promptify it. And let's call this like icebreaker. I'm going to run it on 5 rows. And then off we go, right? So it's doing a bunch of homework right there on the fly. It's looking up what are their cybersecurity initiatives. It's kind of trying to come up with a relevant 2-second icebreaker. And so when that comes back, you can export it to however you want. You can push it to Salesforce. You could create a little lookbook, that has the person's photograph next to it. And now they know who they're looking for with what the icebreaker is. But that's how a marketing team can really empower their AEs to be really, high impact at a conference and also differentiated, because it's a lot of times when you get approached at a conference, it's not really something well researched and relevant. So, from an ROI point of view, pre-event email campaigns that are targeted and well researched, check, easy. Quick icebreakers for booth conversations, check. Detailed briefing documents for your sales team, check. Post-event follow-up sequences that reference the conversations that we teed up at the event, check. So your event ROI just went through the roof because you're not going in blind. You're going in armed with intelligence. This is what modern public sector marketing looks like. All right, Brandon, bring us home.
Right now, there's a school district in your territory discussing budget priorities. There's a city council meeting happening where residents are demanding better technology. There's a planning commission approving funding for exactly what you sell. Before Pursuit, there was an excuse. Finding this intelligence was nearly impossible at scale. But now you have a choice. With Pursuit's fall release, you can generate 6 times more pipeline, like CentralSquare did. You can stop showing up to RFPs 6 months late, when your competitor has already shaped the deal. You can turn conferences from expensive networking into laser-targeted revenue generators. Give your reps back 10 hours a week that they were burning on manual research. The ROI is simple. If Pursuit helps each one of your reps close just one more deal this year, just one, it pays for itself 10 times over. Mike and I didn't build Pursuit just to make selling easier. We built it because when vendors compete on merit instead of luck or price, the people win too. Better prepared vendors means buyers get more options, better information, and ultimately better outcomes for their communities. This is how you win in government. Thank you, and see you for our winter release in February.